All right, getting back into our next section, we're going to go ahead and go with a series of livability project success stories. Our first one here is on day one pig care, labor allocation. We're going to have PJ Corns. PJ is the technical director for JBS Live Pork in Greeley, where he's responsible for nearly 260,000 sows, boar studs, and gilt development units across the Midwest. He's spent his entire career forging world-class results, with every step from managing large sow units in North Carolina to working internationally with PIC and his own consultancy, where he's maintained involvement in well over 2 million sows, driven by delivering results based on proven protocols, system maximization, people development, and biosecurity implementation and execution. PJ's joined JBS in his current role in September 2021. Besides the family century farm near What Cheer, Iowa, that includes row crops, wean to finish operation. PJ resides there with his wife and family in Ames, Iowa. Please help me welcome to the stage PJ Corns.
Thank you for that, Dr. Rodemaker. Shout out to What Cheer, Iowa. So I'll go ahead and get the logistics of that out of the way, because I know I'll be asked. I need some help here too. So in What Cheer, we're known for two things. One that I know about, and one that I kind of iffy on because I'm not allowed there anymore. So number one, the Casey's is still open. So there's that. Number two, I believe that the What Cheer flea market is still open, but I'm too embarrassed to tell you why I can't go there anymore. So Eric Griner's from there. Eric, why don't I go to the What Cheer flea market anymore? Yes. Yes. Unbeknownst to me, I thought it was carbonated, but that wasn't the deal. So anyway. So we're going to talk about day one pig care today, and I'm PJ Corns, the technical director on the reproduction side for JBS. Little bit of intro to who we are. Dr. Turner, Dr. Laura talked about it. Our global footprint here is, you can see, very globally diverse company all over the world. A couple things about us is we're in competitively advantaged areas. You can see all over the world, diversified, export access, and positioned to mitigate some of the things that might happen in the world. So Dr. Turner talked about our structure of the pork business. We also have Dr. Turner, about 70,000 sows over in the UK and about 48,000 down in Australia down there. So that makes up kind of our global footprint. 51% of our revenue does come from the US. And again, you kind of know about what Dr. Laura was talking about. We're number one in beef, number one in poultry, number two in pork. But if you look at those other diversifications, it's pretty cool. We got the aquaculture business, the Huon business down in Australia, Tasmania. They talk about that. I've been down there in Australia. I go down there a few times a year, and that business is really cool because they talk about Tasmania being like utopia to raise salmon, and it's really cool. Prepared foods out of Brazil, big in the UK and Australia, and our plant-based proteins. Own a company called Viverna. Good friend of mine, Richard Jansen, who I've met in the last year, really become good friends with him, runs that business, so plant-based business. So again, really globally diversified business, not just in pork, but in a lot of other things. So, one question, does this make you nervous? I'm a notoriously nervous flyer, and as I look at this, I'm the guy that yeah, I watched that Denzel Washington movie where he inverts the plane, and it makes me real nervous, so I keep an eye on the pilot the whole time. But when I look at this kind of represents kind of what we went through in the U.S. at JBS, where I would go in a Fairwind department, and I'd say, where is everybody? And we had the same things, well, we're processing. Dr. Turner talked about the culture, we're weaning pigs, we're selling culls, something like this, and I'd say the same thing. Who's flying this plane? So this kind of made me both nervous and made sense to me. A couple of the things around what we do. Dr. Turner talked about simplicity, and that goes into our philosophy around day one pig care. We've got two things. We've got shirts made about this. Get them warm and get them on a teat. That's what we do, and we do that in a period of time that we define. Because we do know, this is the science, colostrum, if they don't have colostrum and if they're cold, they're dead. Likewise, Abigail, right? Make sure I get this right. When they get colostrum and they're warm, we can wean them, and that's what makes things happen. And we really, again, build our processes around this. And again, with that birth weight, we'll talk a little bit about what we do with some of our smaller pigs, but we know we're on the clock with them, and we know we have to get them colostrum. And when we talk about things, this is our first page to our SOP. This is the only chart I got because this is what we really live by. And let me get this right. Most of our SOPs are built around this first 12 hours. We might push that out to 18, but it's really built, and our labor is built around managing what we do in that first 12 hours. And it really comes down to what we're talking about today, how we structure some of that labor. And this is Elena, Yasmin, and Jennifer. And Jessica is our day one pig care specialist. Those are the ones, those are the ones who are working specifically in this area, doing some specific things and making it happen. And this is just one of our farms. We have 92 farms, give or take a couple. This is just one we've picked out here. And when we look at it, we're kind of broken out like a lot of companies are. We have our room owners. So Alex there and Alicia are our room owners. And we'll talk a little bit about what they do. Alexandria, she's our day one specialist. This young lady, I forget her name, but she's a room owner going to come up through the ranks. There's Jessica. Aziel, he is our Fairwing department lead or our team lead. This is Angela, Eduardo, who's a room owner, Lalo, who is our breeding department head, and Denise, who is our, came up through our system and is now the assistant manager of this farm. We'll talk a little bit about what they do. Our key players here, our Fairwing players, and sticking with that kind of that aeronautic type thing, you know. Denise and our manager there, Kara, they'd be the pilots. You know, they're the ones who are flying what we're doing on a daily basis. They're getting us there. Aziel, he's really the air traffic controller. One of the things I know a lot of you guys know, that team lead or department head, depending upon what you call it, that's a very dynamic position, and it is in our system there. And that's like kind of like an air traffic controller. Every day, you got to make sure people are sorted out, doing the right things, and getting things done. And our room owners, those are like our ground crew. You know, from the front end to the back end, they're making sure everything is happening for us to get the plane off the ground, or in this case, the farrowing department off the ground, and making pigs. And then we got the airplane. Who gets us there? And that is our day one pig care specialist. And you can see there, you know, we've adopted the different dress code for those folks. And those folks really take that. That's a prideful thing. Number one, we know who they are. And already? Jesus. Okay. So that's our players. That's crazy. Okay. Hyatt, you're screwed. Communication, you know, this is one of the things that we do. We have to be clear, like Dr. Turner talked about. We have to be very efficient with our people. We do this through several things. Number one, our PM and AM meetings. We're communicating what's going on. Our due to farrow list there. That is kind of really our Bible about what's going on. Because if people know what's coming the next day, whether it's real hard or not, they appreciate that. We talk about what makes a perfect day one lead. Really, that person is a unicorn in our system. Hard to find. That person's got to walk upwards to 7 to 8 miles a day to do their task. Great communicator, detail-oriented, competitive. And the other thing is, I have failed more often than finding the right person for this. We're getting a little bit better with that. This is a tough person to find, but when you find them, right, Anderson? It's like the pig placement specialist. You got to keep them there. It's a great place to be. By the numbers, when we look at Fairwind, usually that day one lead will have 1 or 2 assistants, depending upon how your weekends work. One every other weekend or every third, they'll have assistant. Average litters per day, that really dictates who's in there. We know, we've worked on this. Oops, excuse me. By the time I'm done, I'll have this down, Dr. DeRucci. We know we work in that 1 to 17. 1 to 17 active litters, that's a high-end day one person. We work our math more around that 1 to 12. So 1 person to 12 active litters that are Fairwind, we can get around to in 20 minutes. Room owners, those room owners, they'll say, I'm up next week. That means that they're going to be in those rooms that are Fairwind. They're active part of that day one process. And again, there's 21 SOPs in our first 12 hours. The best day one people that we find, they're really narrow in that scope. Where we find those people who drift off a little bit, we don't get the results we want. So it's a really narrow time frame there. Allocation, Dr. Turner talked about the overnights. It's really that first 2 hours in the morning defines us. The team lead determines who's going to do overnights. In our system, it's roughly between 65 and 70% of the sows fare overnight. Huge litters. We got a lot of pigs on the ground when we get there. We got to get going. We keep those populations separate. We split suckle for survival. Dr. Laura was showing those big litters that they had. I was getting real tired of coming in, doing overnights, coming back on a litter that might have had 26 pigs, 27 pigs, and have 4 or 5 laid on. We split suckle at this time for survival. Weekends, overnights are first. So we do that overnight. Again, we have a lot of pigs on the ground. We want them taken care of. And again, there's that 65-35 split, overnights versus days. We've got to do something with those pigs. It's a high population of pigs we got to get to. Challenge pigs, we keep them separate, and we'll talk about those. And that really, that overnights versus days, we've eliminated. I know, spent a lot of time with Dr. Turner when our people, our field staff talks about what, Dr. Turner, rotavirus, all those scours. When we did the overnights, I'm not saying it eliminated them, but it's made it so much better. And we really lock in our colostrum curve when we do that. And if you have overnight labor, and Dr. Laura was talking about all their farms, we have 2 farms out of 92 or 93 farms that have overnight labor. We just don't have it. But if you do, where we have it, we still manage those populations separately. And what's the deal with overnights? One of our latest comers was the Plymouth. We call it the Plymouth Principle, where Bob Watkins, the manager in there, was, Bob, you got to get to this overnights and days. And, okay, I got it. When we do that, we see the results. And Bob said it. He goes, hey, we're seeing the difference. I'm weaning more pigs than I ever have, dipped above 14, and the pre-wean is lower than he has ever had. And also, he'll say it's not more work, it's just allocation. So we're not adding labor, we're just doing it differently. Challenge litters, a lot of discussion around this. So we talked about those small pigs. So this would be about the 1.6 to 1.7 and up, pound pigs. We put those on a specific sow. This is very important picture here because this is the first challenge litter we ever did. Today, I was asking our business analyst this morning, we have put into the packing plant almost 3 million of these pigs. So these smaller pigs, we are weaning. This litter, we always set them with at least 17, and in this case, we wean 16. Somebody asked a question about, do you take the divider up? We don't do it as a normal protocol unless we get into what we call these challenge litters, and we do what we call, the experts in here, Abigail, 3 to 2 litters. We'll put 40 pigs on 2 sows, and borrowing it from the Schwartz group up north, we removed the divider. I can tell you today our goal was 85% of these pigs, and we're weaning 37 out of 40 pigs on these for the last 2 years. It saves labor doing this, Abigail, right? People said, hey, we're saving pigs, but we're saving time. We don't have nurse sows. And we keep up with every litter that we do. And you can see I did cherry pick this data. No, I didn't. I just chose it. Place 17, wean 17 big pigs. And I'm not saying that's normal, but again, there's weeks where we wean, our pre-wean is less on these pigs than the other pigs. Dr. Turner talked about room plan. We have to be on the money with that. We borrowed this from the fast food business. Don't be more than 3 steps away from your supplies. It helps us. This is SOP driven and the room owner's responsibility. And the purpose is to drive our efficiency with people. And we can see this. It's great to see when our day one specialists come in a room, it's like doctors coming in an operating room. It better be set up right. And we gotta be to make that happen. And again, very SOP driven. Room plan, again, the only thing missing here is the circle around that bad teat there. But otherwise, if you look here, you can see room set up. Here's the room owner temping the mats, making sure we're set up. We don't have the labor to really fumble that, so we're set up. And it goes down to our cards. Our cards are a specific color, so we can see them. And our sow card is set up so we read left to right, and I know exactly where the teat count is. You can see our split suckle totes. Again, we don't want to take 3 strides to be away from the supplies to save us time. And then there's Abigail's data. Abigail, you're presenting tomorrow, right? God, really, we looked at this because when we were doing this, it's like, how much can we push this? We've got these challenge litters. Honestly, sometimes we'd screw up, put 20 pigs on her. She'd wean them. It really got us into that. Looking forward to Abigail's discussion about this tomorrow. Organization, again, one of the things we got to look at. We don't have time. We have to have the supplies where we know they're at. You can see the room. There's cards already set up there, so we don't have to look for them. Our aisles are dedicated. And again, the people on the farm are said, hey, why don't you laminate some of our checklists, some of our SOPs, so we don't have to go to the office. We can just clean them off. So again, we have to be organized because of our labor. This is one we talk about finishing strong. We have a leading indicator. Are we staffed after lunch? Do we have the 1 to 17 or the 1 to 12 people there? We have to finish strong. And that's something that we talk about because we could go 15 hours before we come back. So we got to be on the money there. The other thing, one of the most important things to us is, how much time do I got? 2 minutes? Okay, got it. 2 more minutes. Okay. The other thing is, what can we do as leaders to do this? And we test our leaders. We test ourselves. We go to the farms. We have these boot camps. And the manager will test other field managers and production managers on how well did you service their farm. And a lot of those questions are around labor. And you can see we're just okay in some spots. The other thing is, our leaders, I say this, and I know Fred will talk a little bit about this, but there's something, and I'm very boring, but there's that, but there's something magical about a well-run farrowing house. To me, it's like a ballet. It's orchestrated. When you see it working, when you see the SOPs working, it's something to watch. And again, can we troubleshoot that labor? We've got technology. We talked about one of the things that's out there that saves labor. If there's an ROI to it, we're looking at it. One of the things that we are looking very close at is AI technology in our farms. And by that, I mean artificial intelligence. Makes some of the reproductive people nervous when I talk about that. But we are looking at this because it is making us more efficient with our time. And when we can drive our time more efficient, it goes into the farms. And then again, maybe there's some corner of the world called Australia where we're going to build a farrowing house that's very similar to a poultry barn that we can open up, we can have sensors, and we can do some stuff, again, to save labor. But again, I go back to this. I was just talking about a minute ago with somebody about this AI tool. One of the most important things I think that's going to drive our business in the next couple years to come. So what can we do? We got to walk a mile in their shoes, you know. We got to know what not to do. Me and Brian Melody were talking about that. You want to test a production person, go in on a real day and say, okay, what are you not going to do today? Do you know that? Be there. Don't consult. We got to know. The biggest way of losing credibility from my standpoint, where I'm at, is when you give bad advice in the face of today's reality of labor. You cannot do that. You got to be there. Don't forget the other 30%. Excuse me. Obviously, that's my last slide. The other 30% is the weekends. We talk to our people about spend time on the weekends in a farm. I'm not telling you to take time away from your family, but what you find there is very important. Some things we just plain miss. The right seat on the bus is a very difficult task. Set expectations, close the loop, and move quick if needed. So set the expectations that you want out of your day one people. This is when we're gonna come back to it, and if it's not right, we're gonna make some changes and move on. Nothing wrong with that, but making it quick. Making people feel comfortable. From the top of our company down, we're working on an initiative now to get people boots. You look at our boots in our farms, and they're the same boots we've had forever. It's like walking on planks sometimes. So we're gonna look at, can you make a Skechers? Not like these. These are nice shoes, Dr. Turner. But can you make a Skechers that's waterproof, that type of thing? So that person that's walking 8 or 9 miles, it's not killing their hips at the end of the day. So we're looking at that. And it would not be complete until I talk about body condition, making you nervous. We know when we focus on body condition and bring the right sows into farrowing, we create a good loop of things that happen. We spend, let me get this right, 44 man hours per 1,000 sows pulling dead out above our dead target right now. So when I look at Anna Laura talking about, hey, there's sow death loss, I think welfare and I think time. So when we make that right, we make it happen.